Let's get into some of the pre-show questions here, or some of the notes that you guys provided for me. So, Yamani, you said someone has paid me to take off of work and go on a date, but that is pretty normal for a lot of girls in LA. So we have a couple girls here who, you live in LA, correct?
Sherman Oaks. Is that LA?
I think that's LA County. Or is it Ventura?
No, it's LA.
Is that Ventura County?
No, it's LA. I
Or
live in the valley
Oxnard
too.
County? Is it LA County? Okay.
It's LA.
You're in LA, you're in LA, you're in LA. Is that common?
Yeah.
Dude's paying you to take time. Wait, what do you do for work again?
I do bottle service.
Bottle service. Okay. So like has that happened multiple times to you where a guy will pay you, be like, yo, just take the day off, I'll cover it?
Almost probably every night that I work, I would say someone offers that. Obviously not every night do I
Accept.
go.
Right. Yeah.
But usually the implication is that like if I'm tired, I don't feel like hanging out. So I'll tell someone I have work, I don't really feel like it, and they'll be like, okay, well, if I just pay you however much you're gonna make at work, would you just come with me to dinner?
Question for you. How many nights per week do you work? Is it like Thursday, Friday, Saturday type of thing, or?
Yeah, like, I guess like, I guess like maybe like 4 nights a week or something
Okay.
like that.
So your like weekend nights typically are going to be preoccupied with work. So a guy might be inclined to offer you payment to take it off so he can take you on a date. What's the asking price there? $500 for you to take off the night? What's the guy got to pay?
Well,
I'm encouraging it. But
I don't
I'm curious how much.
necessarily have a price because.
Okay, Yamani. Did I say your name right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we got my name right. That's crazy.
Sorry, Myra. Did I say right? Is it
That's
Mira?
crazy.
Mira, Myra.
Is there any implication
You know
as
what?
to
You
what
should-
you're going to do during those days?
Well, that's the thing. I think a lot of times
That's a reach.
there is obviously there's an implication when you give a
Like
girl
if you're on a boat?
specifically money.
Because of the implication. Never
What?
mind. Okay. It's always sunny in Philadelphia joke. Never mind.
I'm sure you know, but obviously there's some implication that probably something sexual would happen. So I don't typically like just go on dates with people for money because like I said, I'm not super sexual. So I would hate to like hang out with someone and they give me money and then I'm like, well, I don't really want to do that. So, I mean, not always, but I don't know. I don't think I've been on like that many to like really know, but I've never.
Yamani, I want to take you out on Friday. You're working. You have work. What does it cost to get you to take off work for me to take you on a date? Or a guy?
I mean, I don't have a price. That's not like what I.
Oh, so okay, I'll pay you $20.
Well, no, because.
Okay, so there is a price.
So you're saying you avoid it.
Oh, well, usually someone would say like, I don't know. I guess what would you make at work if it's a Saturday night?
I don't know.
Which
I
Bottle
be-
service, it just depends. That's why, like, I feel like you probably don't have a number. Is like bottle service. One night you can make like 500 in tips. One night you can make 5,000 in tips.
Literally. So yeah, and also, nothing wrong if you go on dates for money, but like I don't have like it has to be $500 if you want to go to dinner. So
I got to interject there. I do think there is something wrong if you go on dates for money.
Why?
Well,
Because she says the implication is sexual.
Well, if everyone's clear on what's happening.
What if you make it clear? I just want to let you know, like, even though you're paying me, like, nothing's happening after this. We're not getting crazy.
Which is why sometimes I don't, because I let people know that I'm not.
Some
I'm
girls
not
will do the whole
hooking
leading
up.
thing on and be like, oh yeah, and then like put themselves in danger.
If you're going on the date without an actual genuine intention that there's a possibility that you could romantically pursue the guy, that's what I would like. If you're just strictly going on a date, first off, I don't think men ought to be offering money to women.
Well, yeah, there's a market for it, so
yeah,
that's why.
Well, that's some
why
simp
people
shit.
do
Men
it.
shouldn't be offering money. Like, good for you, get your bag or whatever. But I don't think men should be. I'll pay you $500 to go on a date with me. That's pathetic. Good for you, not pathetic for you. Pathetic. I blame the men.
Isn't that called escort?
It's not clear to me if it's just like, it's not clear to me if she's escorting insofar as she's working, and in order for her to, I don't know, it kind of blurs the lines a little bit. But
yeah, which is, I'm not like a dater. I don't do this all the time or like often even, so.
Couldn't you date men on your nights off?
I absolutely could. Okay, first of all,
you're not advertising, hey, if you want to take me out, you'd have to pay me.
Yeah.
They're like, no, babe. Here, how much do you make? I'll cover it. Come spend a night with, or come hang out with me.
like as a girl, sometimes we have to tell, like I've told a guy no that I don't want to go on a date with you probably 10 times in a night. So sometimes like maybe the fourth or
Same
fifth
dude?
time.
Wait, the same dude? You'll tell him no?
Yeah, I've had a like
That's
at work
yikes.
all night, had to tell someone all night. Anyone girl knows this, but like especially working at a club, I've literally had guys like wait for me at work. That's why they have to walk you
It's
to
just
your
weird.
car.
I mean,
And
like,
I'm not like
if a
super-
girl, yeah, I mean, if a girl turns you down, like, move on.
I agree.
You
Um,
would think.
Sometimes they offer you money. I don't
I
know.
mean, if a girl says, for example, like, oh, I can't hang out tonight, he might say, well, what about another night? But then if you say, no, I don't want to hang out with you, that's what, like, like, as a guy, you should move on.
I agree, but obviously we know that's not the case with everyone.
Yeah, that's
I'm not
yikes.
saying all guys are like that. I don't
Just
agree.
to clarify, I was just curious, as he was kind of going through the questions. So if a guy does call you or gets a hold of you in whatever way and says, I want to buy out your day, your work day, to come hang out with me or whatever, and there is an implication of sex, have you ever agreed to those?
No, but I'm not against it. I'm not against anyone who does that. I don't judge anyone.
But would you
so,
call that prostitution?
I'm pretty sure that's the
Yeah.
definition of prostitution. So I think everyone would call that.
Well, I don't know
Are
if
you trying
everyone
to ask
would.
if I'm?
Nope, I'm not asking
It
that.
seems
I'm
like
just
you're
asking.
trying to lead.
I'm just asking, just to clarify it, right? So if you said no to that, it would.
If someone says, "Can I give you $500 to have sex with you?" and you say yes, whether you go on a date or not, whether that is what a prostitute
Okay,
is.
I agree. 100%, I agree. I'm just asking if that situation comes up, if you say yes to.
Technically, I would be soliciting if I agreed to have sex with someone for money.
Okay.
That would technically, yeah.
Is it? But I don't know. Like in the example she provided, she's working. If the man is not paying her for sex,
Right.
the man is
Yeah.
paying
For her
her
time.
Like
company.
literally
To-
to hang out.
Yeah.
to not go to work where she would otherwise make the money that the man is offering. So it's not clear. I mean, the lines are perhaps to some degree a little blurred, but because a man could also say, let's hang out on the night you aren't working.
Yeah, and if I like them, we
so-
can hang out on the night I'm not working.
Right.
I
But
mean,
I guess
it's-
guys are that pressed to.
Do you ever feel
don't know.
pressure to have sex with them if they were to pay you for a date?
I don't. No, I don't think anyone's ever like given me so much money.
What's
That I've,
she's
like-
asking what your price is.
I just told you guys like 4 times. I don't have a price for going out on. I don't like charge for a date. My boyfriends or people that I dated have not paid me to go on a date, but it has happened. Like I think any girl's been offered money. So, yeah. And I personally know I haven't felt that pressure, but
Okay, it's fine. Another thing from you, I also don't think you said in your notes here, I also don't think we were meant to always be together forever as partners. Some of us aren't meant to date long term, be taken seriously, which is okay.
yes.
And are you speaking just for you? Like, do you think that's kind of
No, I think a lot of people put so much pressure, especially women, but also men. There's a lot of pressure on men to like get married or just people in general to form like monogamous bonds, especially when you reach certain markers in your life. And I just don't think everyone's meant to be monogamous with one person for the rest of their life. I know guys who like, obviously we know people, guys and girls who are married, they cheat all the time. Like
Sure.
if that's the case, you're not meant to be monogamous. So
Okay.
I agree on this, actually. I believe there was historical significance, like meaning as to why monogamy was kind of like glorified in our society. It was easier to survive, to provide when you stick to like one unit. But these days, our
No,
life became
that's not why.
Is that okay if I finish the point?
Hold on. Oh, wait. I'll let you finish the point.
donated $200.
Oh,
What
okay.
you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
God.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
who is that
Everyone is now dumber for having listened to it.
It's a movie
Wow.
reference. That's a movie
Is
reference.
that, what movie is that? It's,
Oh, I think.
I think that's.
it's on the tip of my tongue.
Nope, not
no,
Will
it's
Ferrell.
Adam Sandler.
It's Adam Sandler.
I can't remember the name.
I want to say it's Billy Madison.
I think it's Billy Madison. Go on, continue with your point.
Okay, I feel like these days we became so comfortable, independent. Just our life became so convenient that surviving on our own and making choices based on what we actually want to do in the moment is a norm. And this is sort of a outdated, I suppose, part of the system where people feel the pressure to get married or have kids by a certain age, that we don't need to do it anymore. And a lot of people, like you said, they sort of get stuck and pressured to be in relationships they don't feel happy. And so many families that are married, I've been noticing just from what I was observing, are together for reasons that are actually not authentic, whether they're feeling lonely or they want safety or sex. And if you look deeper into it, it looks good like on the outside, but inside they're miserable and the relationship is quite toxic, as opposed to people that are single or fucking around, even though some society can judge them for that. They're actually happy and free because they do what makes them feel good.
Andrew,
So-
I think I know you had something. I do want to just really quickly, before I have you come in, go around the table on this. So it sounded like you, and I don't want to misquote you, you don't think monogamy, what are your thoughts on monogamy? It's not for
I just
everyone?
think
Is that what you
everyone
said?
has their own personal thing. I think like we have this thing that like women are naturally monogamous, men are naturally not as monogamous, women just get super attached. I don't think it's as, I think we've made it super general. I don't think everyone's monogamous. I don't think everyone's poly. I don't think everyone's like, people just like what they like. Some people.
Sure, but so you're saying, are you saying women aren't naturally monogamous? That's what you wrote here
I
in your
did
pre-show
write
notes.
that. So I think maybe to clarify, I just don't think
Well,
that.
don't walk it back. Don't
I'm
walk it
not
back.
walking back,
Okay.
but you're asking me to you're asking me what I'm telling you what I meant.
Yeah.
Because I was in a DM, so I couldn't.
Go ahead.
fully
No, go
flesh
ahead.
out,
Go ahead.
but
You're fine.
I don't think that every single woman, just because you have a vagina, are you monogamous and do you get emotionally attached to everyone you have sex with? I just think that's a little bit of like a generalization that has been made about girls. Is that they every time you have sex with a guy, you're in love with them, you fall in love, but guys can just have sex with
fine.
anyone and they don't get super attached. Like I know guys that get attached super quick. I know girls that get attached super quick. I know girls that have sex with a bunch of people and don't care about any of them and vice versa. So that's what I'm saying. Like I said from the beginning, which you could quote, is that monogamy, poly, it depends what you're into.
Sure. So perhaps just a yes or no on this. You said women aren't naturally monogamous. That's your position?
No, I just said my position. Again, that was like a very concise DM, so I know there were other sentences before
Okay.
and after,
Sure.
but what I'm saying is just because you can't answer it yes or no, is that just because you have a vagina doesn't mean that you're more super inclined to being monogamous. That's
Okay.
all I meant by that.
Would you never be monogamous?
No, I've been monogamous before.
Oh,
I'm not like I didn't. It's
I think
it
what, like,
depends.
just because
It just
I know
depends
you
what you're
so
into.
well, I think what you might be trying to say, and tell me if I'm wrong, is historically humans weren't monogamous, and then monogamy became like a thing, like over time ingrained in the culture. And so just like in general, not every woman is going to have the urge to be monogamous, or some women don't want to be monogamous but feel the pressure from where they grew up, what religion they're in, that sort of thing. So I think it's just, I think you could say that for men and women.
Exactly.
It's like monogamy
It's
isn't
both.
for everybody.
That's all. It's just,
Okay. Going around the table, or wait, I don't know if I went.
Can I add one more thing?
Sure.
I think what we lack is the freedom of choice. Too much of what people do is based on what others want us to do. That's it.
I don't even know what that means.
So, like an example with marriage, there is so much pressure, especially for women, to get married and have children by a certain age.
Yeah, that's because if they don't do that, they can't have children.
I mean,
That's
my mom-
debatable.
she
No,
had
it's
me when
not
she was
debatable.
42.
No, it's not. No, listen. The amount of damage that you do that drastically can happen to you and the child just over the age of 24 drastically increases every single year. Every single year that you hold out. By the time you're 40, if you're trying to have kids, how many kids do you think you're going to have versus a 25-year-old?
men's sperm count drops too as they get older.
Yeah.
Just so you know, it's for both of us.
Generally speaking, yes, but a lot of it
there's
depends on
definitely
your
a difference
lifestyle
there.
because we all age differently.
I mean,
Oh, no. What? Wait a second. Yes, I mean, that's true. I guess that we all have different effects when it comes to age. I would agree to that. But we don't all age differently, right? So we all age at exactly the same rate as everybody else.
I disagree.
Really? So if I'm 1 year old and you're 1 year old, how old are both of us?
Depends how you perceive time.
It depends on how you perceive
Don't
it.
you
Well, I
think?
think perhaps she's saying, like, if you take good care of your health,
Yeah.
there's some longevity.
Yes, the effects.
Yeah.
So sure, you can have the effects, but we age at the same rate.
But don't you
Okay?
think there's other things that can age you faster, like
Drugs.
trauma, drugs, losses?
Well,
Wait, hold on. Just
Those are
Boneman
facts.
538 donated $199. When was monogamy or mating for life something we mammals did not do? Lots of birds,
Right.
reptiles, and amphibians do it. Show me a successful polygamous society with matriarch or king with harems.
good point. Very good point. Bone Man 538.
Yeah, I definitely
Good
was
name.
saying like we
Good name.
don't like have an instinct to want to procreate and like be with other people, but like you don't see like a
There's-
lot of species just like clinging on to one other species. But yeah, some do. Some like like they say lobsters, they mate for life. When they meet their mate, they're like whatever. And then there's other like species that
Lions
like
have
they just be
multiple
fucking everybody.
Gorillas have like
Yeah,
this
but
one king and then they have multiple.
when you take human behavior, right?
Yes.
We're not gonna compare ourselves to lions, right?
But we still have
biology,
primal
though.
instincts.
We're animals.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
But we also have higher faculties, so we can know how to do things which are good for us, even regardless of what our own carnal natures are. So, for instance, it might feel good to do thing which ends up hurting you in the long run, so you don't do that thing even though it feels good. Like, for instance, eating tons of chocolate in a single sitting. Might feel good, probably not very good for you, so lots of people would avoid doing it, right? Otherwise, we end up with like pure hedonism. So the reason monogamy is so good for the world is because it used to be that only a small subsect of men were able to procreate ever, because women are the gatekeepers of sex. So what happened is all the high status men would get the mass majority of women. That's what would happen. What happened when monogamy is really introduced, especially through Christian ethics, what ended up happening is now everybody has a mate. You see societal violence go way down. You see people are able to genetically replicate themselves. And so the biggest value to a species moving forward is replication, right? You have to be able to
Yes.
replicate yourself.
I'm going to agree with that. I just don't think that just because we do it doesn't mean everyone wants to do it.
Yeah, well...
Not saying
I mean,
it isn't
that's-
good for society. I think
But that's just
all
kind of
your
like
points were
trivially
valid.
Yeah, but that's just kind of
but-
trivially true, right? So you can say that about everything. Like, not everybody wants to do everything. That's true, but we're kind of talking in a general
Well, as a
broad
mass
view.
Modest
society,
Hikima
yes.
donated $200.
Just one sec, guys.
I'm
Yo, thank
sorry,
you, man.
Brixham.
Appreciate it.
My male hormones naturally overcame me and I made a disgusting comment toward Mira as she is wearing the least clothing, nip-spoking, enjoys turning down losers like me. What is this?
He didn't make a comment about your abs.
What does he want me to cover? My face?
No, don't worry about it.
What else
Don't-
do I need to cover?
Nick, do we have any paper bags back there?
I didn't
no,
get
you're
the
fine.
memo.
You're fine.
Just like
go
cut out the
ahead.
eyeballs.
Go ahead. Did you want to continue on with the?
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that monogamy, if you want to know why I'm so anti-degeneracy, why I'm so anti-promiscuity, things like that. If you look at all the Western nations where all the promiscuity is allowed everywhere at all times, like she says, I feel like we don't have a choice to do what? There's nobody stopping you literally from doing anything. Any form of degeneracy you could ever think of right now, you can basically do, and you have a right to do it at all times, whenever you feel like it, everywhere inside of the United States. I can't think of a single one, a single thing that you would be like, I just have to go and do this horrible degenerate thing. What is it that you couldn't go do right now? What choice are you being limited?
I'm not limited. I think I'm more so talking about other people feeling the psychological pressure of society. Like women get judged, men get judged too, actually. Just there's so much judgment. And I think that's unnecessary.
Yeah, what's wrong with judgment? Judgment's good.
Because it stirs people away from doing what they want to do.
Yeah, but
as long as they're not hurting other people.
This is my problem, right? This is why
Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should.
So this is a problem with Twitch politics. You got Twitch brain, okay? So what's happened because of your Twitch brain is you hear all the hedonists on Twitch say, do what makes you feel good, man. The good is the good. Do the good. Whatever makes you feel good.
Have you ever watched my Twitch
What about
channel?
your duty and obligations? Do you have any of those? Do you just have a set of sequence of entitlements that you call rights with 0 duties and 0 rights?
Actually, Twitch chat also puts pressure on me. I think this is mentality that I came on my own, which was really hard because there's, like I said, so much pressure from everyone.
Yeah, but answer to my question. So my question is, do you just have a sequence of entitlements, or do you have any duties and obligations to anybody for anything ever?
Your question is very vague. Can you paraphrase it to
I
be more
don't know how it
specific?
could possibly be more precise. Do you know what a duty is?
Could you define that
No,
for
I'm
me?
just asking if you know what one is before I define it. Before we become too overly pedantic, I just want to make sure that you are going to tell me that you don't know what that word means first before I define it. Not that you're making me do it because you want to be overly pedantic.
English is my second language.
Yeah,
I
that
don't
doesn't
even
mean
know
that you
what
don't
pedant
understand what
is.
I'm saying.
What
I
is
don't know how
pedant?
this relates. She was talking about freedom of choice, and you said, well, you're legally allowed to do whatever you want. And then she was talking about socialization and being inculcated
because
to
what
have
did
certain
she-
habits. And you
yeah.
said, what's wrong with shame?
Yeah.
It's fine to be shamed, but she's saying that women aren't avoiding promiscuity because of the adverse effects that you think are inherent to promiscuity. It's because they don't want to be called a 304 or a slut. If you think there's
That's
negative...
not what she said.
That is what she's implying.
Well,
she's saying
hang on,
if there's
hang on.
actually
What she-
negative side effects
No.
to
We're
having a
talking
lot of
about
sex,
monogamy
I
and-
those will
disagree.
manifest in themselves. It doesn't have to take the form of guys
Yeah.
calling her a slut. That's the sort
That's not
of
what we're talking about.
absence
That's
of
not
freedom
what
of
we're
choice. That is
talking-
what she was
no,
saying.
No,
You're-
we were
what you're
talking
doing is
about
She's talking about girls
monogamy.
being slut
You were
shamed.
talking
No,
about
we're talking about
monogamy, yeah.
monogamy and the expectation to have
She's saying
get married and have
society, she feels like it's not fair that society is casting stigma on social behaviors. That's what she's actually saying.
She's saying
I think
it's
she was
mutually
just
exclusive with freedom
acknowledging.
of choice, and you understood freedom of choice to mean legal rights, and she was saying
No, not just legal
judgment and
rights.
socialization and stigma.
That's
and
what
then
I'm
you
talking
said,
about
what's
is
wrong with
stigma.
Yeah.
Literally talking about stigma right this second. That's why I'm asking, do you feel like you only have a sequence of entitlements which are given, or do you feel like you have any duties and obligations
What is the
external to
duty?
those? A duty, an obligation.
To who?
Like a
to
child
what?
or a dog or a job.
Like if you're a
or
parent,
friends.
do you have a duty to feed your child if you're a parent?
I'm not a parent. You want me to imagine
If
what
you
it's
were,
like?
how would you feel if you ate breakfast this morning?
How would I feel if I eat breakfast?
Yeah.
Full?
Yeah, how would you feel bad if you didn't eat breakfast this morning?
I would require more minerals. That is correct.
Okay, great. So we know that you can do hypotheticals. So let's not be pedantic then. So
I still don't know what pedantic is.
yeah, you don't know what it is. You don't know what pedantry is because English is your second language. Are
That
you
is
sure?
correct.
Okay. Well, let's move into it anyway. I'm just going to ask, and I'll use really small words. Do you have a duty? And if you don't know what the word duty means when I say it in the context of feeding a child, I'll tell you.
Are you asking me to answer if I had a child, would I feed the child? And that's
Now,
your
do you have a
definition of
duty to feed the child? Some obligation?
I would feed my child.
Do you have an obligation to feed your child?
I feel like this is a lot of semantics.
Legally, yes, you do
know,
have an
when you make an
obligation to feed
argument,
your
semantics
child.
are super important. So I'm just wondering, do you have an obligation to feed your child?
I would feed my child.
Do you have an obligation to do that, though?
Yes,
What
legally
does
you
he
have
want
an
from me?
obligation.
I don't understand.
Yeah,
Legally-
you
yeah.
don't understand
No.
that when I ask you one question and then you answer to a question I didn't ask you, that you
You're
don't understand
really
why I keep
confusing
repeating
me,
the question.
Andrew.
If I say, would you feed your child? And you say, yes, I'd feed my child, then that's an answer to that question. If I ask you if you have an obligation to feed your child and you say, I would feed my child, that's not answering if you think you have an obligation to do so.
I will feed my child,
Okay.
and that is the last
So
thing
you're
I'm
just
going to
not
say.
gonna answer
No, but
the
do you
question.
have
But
do you have
you would
a
feed your
duty?
child because you
do you have
feel
an obligation?
obligated.
Like because you have to, basically. It's you have
If
to
my
feed
child
your
is
kid.
hungry, I will feed him. Yes.
No, but do you have an obligation to feed your child?
Like, let's put it this way. Like, some guy wants to fly you out to France for $2 million, or your baby needs to eat, and you're like,
Wait,
well,
into the mic, please.
well, the baby, I don't have to feed the baby, it'll live, but I can go on this France trip. Like, some people would be like, you know what, fuck the baby, I'll hire a sitter to feed them. That's not my obligation right now. My obligation is like going to France and get this money. You know what I mean?
Bone
So
Man
he's kind of saying like,
538
Just one
donated
sec. Just one sec. Just one sec.
$199. Her very body embraces the duty to the child via the mammary glands.
That's
Okay.
true.
Okay,
I think
Bona.
you should specify. Do you mean like a legal duty or a moral duty?
I just said obligation first.
Yeah. Do you mean legally or
Yeah,
morally?
well, that would be
or biologically.
first. I would need to figure out whether or not she even feels like she has any obligation, or doesn't actually know what the word obligation means. If
But
you don't actually
obligation
know
is
what the word,
subjective. There's
I
legal
want to ask you something
obligations.
else. If he pulls up the definition of obligation and reads it to you, will you answer the question then, or are you just going to still answer it the same way?
I will try my best.
Okay.
Do you want me to? I can Google obligation, right?
If that's what you want to do, Brian.
An act or course of action to which a person is morally or legally bound, a duty or commitment.
A duty.
Moral and legal.
Yeah.
So both.
Specify
There we go
legal or
again.
moral.
Right.
Specify for her which one.
A moral.
I feel
I
like
will
this is a
make
very
sure-
easy question.
Let's
to
just say
answer.
No,
moral.
it's not. If you were to ask me, are you obligated to be nice to the person next to you? I could say not
Okay.
necessarily.
Are you
But that's-
morally? Should you morally feed your child?
Yes.
Okay, good. So now back over to you. Do you have an obligation to feed your child?
I will make sure that my child is well
Are
fed.
you
No,
morally
just-
obliged to do so?
Answer the question, Myra. Did I get it right? Mira?
Mira?
Sorry. So I'm not doing it. I swear I'm not doing it intentionally. I'm like that
Yes.
brain dead.
I will answer yes.
You have a obligation to do so.
Yeah, but it's not in front of other people. It's because I care for the child.
Okay, but there is a duty there.
Okay.
Okay,
There
so now
is.
we've established you know what duty means. So do you have any of those in society, or no?
Will I feed anyone else
That's
in the
not what
society?
I'm asking. I'm asking if you have any duties in society now that you understand the context of what duty means, or is it all just entitlement?
I feel like I can make certain difference in life that would be helpful to people, but I don't have to.
Okay, so you don't have any duties or obligations to anybody else in society, just a sequence of entitlements?
I don't know what sequence of entitlement is.
So, like, let's take a right. Would you say a right's an entitlement?
Can you be more specific? Can you give me like
Yeah, like your right to free speech for a context. That's an entitlement. Would you say you're entitled to that?
no?
No, you're not entitled to it.
I don't think anyone entitled to anything.
Nobody's entitled to anything
Yes.
except your baby to get food.
Yeah, but even there, like it's all very subjective. Like I would take care of the baby and feed the baby because I care for the baby.
Mhm. But would you give a stigma towards people who didn't?
No,
Why?
because it's none of my business.
So if people weren't feeding their children and they were starving because they weren't feeding them, you wouldn't want a societal stigma against that.
I'm not there to judge. There are other people that can do
So
that.
do you think
It's
that
their
the
job.
world then is going to be a better place or a worse place because you refuse to judge and allow us to societal stigma towards people who won't feed their children?
this reminds me of my childhood.
I need to ask, do y'all feel the same way?
Well, so a couple things. I feel like
I'm asking. I just want to finish this real
I'm
quick.
thinking, yes,
Yeah,
I'm thinking.
Is
I
the
could
world
get-
going to be a better or a worse place by you refusing to allow a stigma towards people who won't feed their own children?
So I think that the reason why this comparison doesn't work is because in the first case, the life of a child that is not able, I'm assuming, to feed himself or herself is a danger. And the second one, you're judging someone else's personal/sexual life.
I don't understand. Why wouldn't that work? We're talking about a stigma towards a behavior that we don't like to see the benefits in society due to the stigma.
Because like I said, the first one, someone's life depends on it.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody that technically is not capable of feeding themselves. And the second case, it's...
What are you talking about?
I
You're
have
not
like a great
affecting
example.
anyone's
I'd love
health.
to ask her that maybe it could put it more specifically, like as an example
Okay.
and not so much as a statement. So here we go. When I was a kid, my dad used to like beat the living fucking shit out of me for like 15 years. And one day, and I sang my entire life growing up. One day I was singing. I come outside, my neighbor's like, oh my God, you have such a lovely voice. Like, you're such a good singer. Like, never stop singing. And I feel really good, feel really great. And then 10 seconds later, I realized, wait, if she can hear me singing, she can definitely hear when I'm like screaming bloody murder for help. And no one's helping. And so I think in this, what his question could go towards this: if you were my neighbor, would have you felt obligated to call the police
do you have a
and
duty
CPS,
to do so?
or would you have said that's none of my business? I'm not going to get into that.
Actually, that's
Thank
really
you. This
that's a
was
good framing.
Yes, that is.
That was
Thank you
good
for
framing.
clarifying it. So I think I should have mentioned, maybe I did, but briefly, is that as long as nobody getting hurt, if no one's health or life is in danger, do what you please. Do not let others influence your life.
Well, he's going to say promiscuity hurts people, but that example doesn't pan out to her because she's talking about personal choice in terms of desire, not action. So even if you don't want to feed the baby and you feel obligated to, you're still going to feed the baby. She's talking about personal desire to have sex being suppressed by stigma, not actually whether you act on it.
Or get married.
Wasn't that the
having
point of the
children.
analogy? Weren't we talking about promiscuity?
Because we started off talking about with monogamy with her, then she came in, then she started talking about there's a pressure on women to have children
Right.
and to get married. That's not really related to promiscuity necessarily.
Right. What we're talking instead is about societal duties. So the question becomes, if we're looking at the United States, we're looking at Western nations, which are underneath the threshold for replacing their own people inside of those nations, way underneath, not even replacing their own themselves. Period. Is there any duty for us to do that? And you would say there's no duty to do that, right? There's no duty. So why wouldn't we, for instance, if I was the president of the United States tomorrow, why wouldn't I want to have some type of push towards women to see them kind of view this as a duty to do, a duty to try to get married younger, to try to have families younger so that I could bring that birth rate up, for instance, so that I could replace the society which I currently have. You don't think that that's a good idea?
You trying to replace the society? That sounds like some Hitler shit. That's
Well,
crazy.
I think right now we're seeing a lot of.
What?
There's people that.
we need to
There's a
get off
couple
Mira.
things going on.
Hold on.
Bowman 538 donated $199. Natural law is upheld when no harm is done to persons, property, the public peace, and or the public trust. The entitlement of benefit comes with the responsibility or the sense of duty to the group.